We're going to do some heavy-duty automation. My name is Rob de Korte. This is Chris Dries. We're going to talk about, Chris is going to do some automation with PowerShell on Citrix. He's going to do some nice stuff in Azure, or however you want to call it. And I'm going to tackle welcome.
This is not context is king. You know that.
Some context. And the context is also.
There is. So, and I'm going to tackle something that people who work with the REST product, or Ivanti powered by REST product, the workspace controller, as it is called now. The user settings are stored in files, and the file names are GUIDs this long. And how do you link such a file name to the proper setting? Well, I figured it out, and I'm going to present a nice way to get them out of your system. Yeah. Okay. My name, Rob de Korte. I'm an independent trainer consultant nowadays. I have a company called RDK Training and Consulting, and consultant powered by REST. And this is my website. I just got it online this week. That's why I didn't have time to prepare this presentation properly. So whatever you miss in this presentation, hopefully I have it on my website. Yeah. And here we have Chris.
Yeah, I'm Chris Dries. I'm a senior workspace consultant at Datron. So I just work for a company, not for myself anymore. I used to. I got 10 years of experience with all kinds of server-based computing and VDI. I like to focus on products like REST, Ivanti, PowerShell, FSLogix, LogVisi, Liquidware, Citrix, all that kind of stuff, all the good stuff. And I have a blog. It's called workspace-guru.com, and on the blog I post all kinds of things I find interesting. So why automation? Well, actually this is simple. Who doesn't in the room already use some sort of automation in their IT system? Doesn't.
Who does not?
I was like, go ahead.
Right? So, who has a problem hearing what we're saying?
Might be the hangover, but
So, what are the why you should use automation is, of course, if you have to do something twice, it is worth it to automate it. So, when I started out as a young IT guy, I had a very wise guru, and he said, I'm lazy, and just when I have to do something twice, I want to make a script. It's just that easy. So that is already automation. Just make a script, so that anything you have to do twice, it's worth to automate. Automation can help you finish your projects in time and within budget. So that is something customers always like. Big thing is, of course, go from an IT firefighter to having everything in control, even during a fire. So when I go to customers, I still see them who doesn't use automation that much. They still, a user is locked. The whole day they're going user call this, and I think that 90% of those calls can be automated and can be rescued. So, and it's important that how do you have time to innovate and to go to the cloud and to do things with Azure if you're the whole day busy with IT fires. So use automation for that. So that's immediately the second thing, time for innovation. You automate the boring stuff, and you're going to do this exciting stuff. Another great reason is create time to go to the E2. That's why we're all here. And create time to drink beer. That was especially Rob's favorite thing about automation.
Not anymore.
So, I'm now gonna sit behind the laptop and show you guys some stuff. Because I'm gonna talk about Citrix and automation and PowerShell. I really like to automate that kind of stuff. I like to dig in to the PowerShell SDK documentation of Citrix, which is really hard to get through if you haven't saw those documentations, and try to make it useful. And I'm going to show you some examples of that, and yeah, so I'm going to sit behind the laptop. So recently I was at a customer and they said to me, Chris, build a completely on-premise new Citrix environment, but we want to have documentation that allows us to recreate the site if needed. So everything you're going to do during the project, we want to have documented. I said, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to click next, take a screenshot of everything. I always think that in a project setting, you install it or you create it, and then you deliver documentation how they can manage the system. But they want documentation to build it exactly again every time. Because, as it's turned out, they want to create a test. As it turned out, they want to create test and they want to recreate their site. They want to recreate their site for testing purposes. So what I did, I just created for everything you need to install for Citrix. I created modules within automation. But these modules, if we take a look like at create a machine catalog from PVS, are just a PowerShell script. And within this PowerShell script, this is why I like automation. This one I want to show you is a great thing. You see, this is for the you see the customer's name still, it's the province, Flevoland. And you see, the thing we did there was, and the thing that is great about automation is the way you can use automation variables, but use them in your PowerShell script. So you can, in automation, you have parameters, and every time you're scheduling this module, it will ask you those parameters, and you fill them in, and then they will get into your script. So if you look at the PowerShell script in automation, you can see that here is the difference.
Can everybody see it?
I hope it's visible on the screen, but so the thing is,
It is possible.
I don't know if it's
Just use the touchpad. And then,
yeah, but this is within a Citrix session.
Citrix session.
I don't know if it's.
I will comment.
I will tell. It's just a normal PowerShell parameter. So that's just the $ and the name, and then is, and then remember to quote it when it comes from automation. You need to quote it, and then the automation parameter. So if I now want to create a new PVS catalog, which this script does, all I need to do is schedule it while the session is hanging.
Live demo.
Are the guys from Citrix here?
Try turning it on again.
Oh, the whole laptop is hanging. Don't know what we're doing here.
it's the left-hand mouse, right?
Oh, it's back. Okay, I think I'm getting somewhere back. Okay, sorry. So the thing is, I just, left hand, schedule the job, and now it will ask me the things it needs. So I get the job parameter, I need to fill in my site name, the machine catalog name, the VPS server name, device collection name. I have to, you see, I made a menu. If it's VDI, is it SPC? I ask, is it static or random? So and this is nice. This is easier also used by the admins who don't understand PowerShell. They only have to schedule this job and fill in a form. That's it. And it will create a PVS catalog. And it's the same with all the other Citrix tests. As you can see here in the library, we created everything like installing a license server, installing provisioning server, created DSP scope. Another thing that was really challenging was create a connection with VMware vSphere because you need to accept the SSL certificate for vSphere. So if you have trouble with that, I wrote something on my blog, a PowerShell script, who will first go to the website of your vSphere Center server, export its certificate, import it into your machine, delivery controller, get the thumbprint, and then create the connection string secure. And that is something that was quite hard to figure out in PowerShell. So that is just installing the base of Citrix, and I created a runbook who does all these tasks one by one. Yeah.
When you create your variables, are you able to make choices in some kind of tree? Depending on the choice, you make these variables. Another choice is
That's good.
initiating some other variable.
That's a good question. That is not in this product in automation. If you want to do a tree-like thing, you have to do it in Identity Director. So that's a graphical shell around automation. It's a different product from Ivanti. And there are three structures possible. So and so it finished with another module and stuff. You can do that.
Here in the front.
Yeah, we also have seats in front because we don't use mic because we think we talk loud enough. So this is just installing the base components. A few things I want to point out is if you're gonna go ahead with installing the base components, Dennis Span, he's a CTA, he has a blog, DennisSpan.com. He has all the installation scripts of everything you need in PowerShell already. You only need to paste it into automation and set those variables correct. And also Chris Jeuke is here. He also has a blog with some nice installation tricks, like automating the VDA installation. So check those out. They're really helpful. I will now go back to the presentation for a short while, and then I'm going to sit back again. Because
People who are viewing the video will wonder how I can do all this with my hands on my back.
yeah.
Because they won't be seeing you.
So okay, so yeah, there I am. So that was actually. I will sit back down too.
He's from Citrix, so we don't care.
So actually, automating that part isn't really that hard. The thing I spend a lot of time in is this, creating the vDisk automation. So these days, a lot of companies are talking about app layering and app vstill or app containering, but still I'm kind of old-fashioned and I like to install local applications into my vDisk. So most people say, well, you're crazy, it's going to take a lot of time. And I talked to someone at Synergy and he said, yeah, we have 1,000 applications. Okay, I was like, okay, so that I can get why you're going for layering. But if you have around 100 applications or something, what I do with customers is with automation, I create installation modules for all those applications. And instead of using vDisk versioning, or even some people are still doing the Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V for your vDisk and then putting it in private mode and updating an application stuff. What I do is simple. I create my vDisk every time. So if there needs to be something updated in the vDisk, like Firefox, let's say we're going to go from Firefox 51 to 59. What I do is I create a new installation module of Firefox 59, and in my runbook, which normally installs Firefox 51, I say stop that, remove that one, and now you're going to install Firefox 95. So 59. I never do an application update. I always do a new installation. So what I do is, first I talk to, and I will show you some more if you want. First I talk to my provisioning server, and I said to the provisioning server, create a new empty disk for me. I do this through PowerShell. The commandlets are on my blog. I will get to that later.
He really is shameless, right?
Yeah.
He will mention his blog almost every slide.
Every slide I will mention it 2 times. Then from my management server, because this is the great thing about automation runbooks, you can run in one runbook, so that is just one click. I schedule the runbook go. I can do jobs on multiple servers. So first I go to my provisioning server, said get me a new disk and attach it to my imaging machine. Then the second thing I do is,
Sorry. Somebody's collecting his laptop, I guess.
no, I want.
Yeah, but you'll get it now, so finally you get rid of it.
Thank you. So the second thing I do is I prepare the VM and deploy an agent. You can do this in multiple ways. What you can do is just go to MDT and create a whole new VM or use a VMware template. I use snapshotting. So I made a base machine in VMware. It's not even in the domain, nothing yet. And I created a snapshot, it's called before imaging. So what this runbook will do is, it will tell through PowerShell to VMware, put back that snapshot. So the machine is not in the domain, nothing. And then I say boot that machine, and I'm going to deploy an automation agent to the machine. And from there out, I can do things on that machine. I always call that my imaging machine 999, so all the tasks you see ending on 999, they will be done on that machine, like prepare task, join the domain, install the RDS host server, this send-up. I also do a basis patch round on it. And even when I'm testing this at a customer, if I'm going to a new customer, I have the ability always building to create snapshots. So sometimes the installation of the software part, so this part, can take up to an hour. And if some little thing fails, it's a shame to do the whole thing again. So I do built-in snapshots, so I can always go back and go ahead a little bit further. So one of the tasks you see also is delete the snapshots in the end when I'm imaging. So I installed all the software, I installed the Citrix VDA, I installed the REST software, all the good stuff, print drivers. And then one really important thing is optimizing your server. So for that I use the OS optimization tool from Citrix, created by Martin Sujek, great tool. Also because this runs on VMware, I also run the VMware optimization tool, I run them both. Be careful with the VMware one, it disables a whole lot, so some things you have to really say don't do that. Like it will disable Windows Firewall and then your search won't work in Windows 2016. After that I restart the machine once again and I image the disk. And for imaging the disk I use BizF sealing script. I know anyone familiar with BizF? Okay. Check it out. It's the greatest script ever because it does.
Let me guess, it's on your blog?
No, it's not my blog. It's created by Login Consults in Germany. I do help them sometimes. And what they do is it's a script who does all more than 1,000 optimizations. It even recognizes what kind of virus scanner you have on your image. And it removes the right GUIs for the file scanner or does a pre-scan before imaging. And the whole script ends with copying your C drive to that attached empty disk that I created in the first step. So it does that. After the copying, I send another command to my provisioning server. Now, seal the disk, close it, put it in read-only mode, put the cache right. And I say, put it to my device collection for test machines, and I send out an email, reboot the test machine, tell your users to test, and you're done. So that is really easy to do. I don't know how we are on time.
Well, that depends if you want to let me participate in it.
Yeah. So I wanted to do it. I'm going to hurry up, so Rob has enough time. So I wanted to do a whole walkthrough of that runbook, but I think we don't have enough time. But I told everything already. It's just the commands that are in the runbook. Once again, you can find them on my blog. So now we have another challenge. Let's first go to this slide. I was at Synergy and Citrix says, well, we're now a cloud company, deal with it. Okay, cool. So that means that my favorite product, provisioning service, it won't ever see the day of light on Azure. That's just a fact. Azure is not going to let DHCP and that kind of stuff and injecting during boot and that sort of stuff happen on their platform. So we now have to do MCS, Machine Creation Service, on Azure. But it got me thinking, as I just told you, if I'm using this on-prem my runbook, a thing I do is the snapshot. I set back that snapshot so I get my base machine again. Why I do that? Because, well, MDT is a lot of work and it takes more time and stuff. But in Azure, creating a new machine is just 4 PowerShell commandlets. And then I got my new machine. So I created this new method of creating your master image. I start my Azure update process. I create a completely new VM. I deploy all my software on it. I update the machine catalog. And then I delete the VM because I don't need it anymore. It saves cost, it saves resources. And this whole process is also just one click within Azure. Or within one click within automation, and I use Azure RM, PowerShell commandlets to do this. So if we take a quick look, the first task is now different from the last runbook. It's prepare an Azure deploy agent. So what I do there is I do the Azure RM new VM, which will create a new VM. I get in this automation runbook, I will get the private IP from the VM because Azure assigns that random, so I need to have that. Because I created a new VM, I know the credentials of that VM and I know the IP address. That way I can send an automation agent. But Azure creates VMs with the Windows firewall, and that's a problem for automation because I first have to have it off. Then I can put it in the domain, put on the right policies, the right ports open, then I can turn it back on again. So what I did is I created a custom script extension which writes a small PowerShell script. In that small PowerShell script it says to disable the firewall through registry. And I run that as the custom script extension on the VM. Then the firewall's off, I delete the public IP address. Then I start the deployment just as normal. I deploy my automation agent, I deploy all the software, I deploy the VDA. Then what's different, of course, is I'm not imaging anymore. I'm not saying copy it, but you can still use BizApp for all the optimizations it does. And then a new one is I update the machine catalog. So you can do this through Citrix Cloud or whatever. You can also do this with PowerShell. If you do it with Citrix Cloud, you need the Citrix Remote SDK installed, and you need to point it to your cloud connector instead of your delivery controller. And then the last task is delete the Azure VM. So that's that. I wanted to do a quick walkthrough too, but you see we didn't plan on time. So another shameless plugging. All the things I told you and all those commands I wrote on my blog. So even 2 days ago, Citrix blogs released my blog with all those Azure commands I just told you to create new. And yesterday evening I quickly also pasted everything back to my own blog, so it's there now. So just to show you that one small thing, and then Rob has the whole blog.
I have the full 2 minutes to myself.
There is time still.
Okay.
I see there is time.
Is there enough time on my battery?
I hope so. So
As you can see, I like to live dangerously.
so
I
just
just forgot I was flying.
So just to give you an example, if you go to my blog, sorry for the shameless plugging, but it's just the easy way to do it now, is go through here, and to create a new Azure VM, I created this whole PowerShell script for instance, this is the script to disable the firewall. It's kind of difficult to do, so it's a larger script. And this is the thing for updating the machine catalog. So you can copy it, you can use it, do whatever you like with it. So that is my part about automation and shameless plugging. So I'm going to hand it over to Rob, and he's going to tell more about automation. So let's switch.
So, my part is about, well, I can't help it, I'm still tied to the REST products a bit. As I see now, when I was working for REST, I have never had a packed room like this, so it maybe have been a good career move.
In the description it said that you would stand here pretty.
I look pretty. Well, I've done that,
so I think that's it.
Yeah. Okay. So I was for my customer. I was working on some things. Actually, I more or less stumbled into it. Who of you are working with the identity workspace or Ivanti workspace control application or REST one workspace? Okay. Well, and I'm pretty sure when you do, you're using. When you do, you're using the user settings or zero profile technology, right? And one of the pains in there is that REST has decided to write each the user's settings for each application or for each setting in a file, and in order to keep the files apart, they gave them a file name with a GUID, yeah, which is good from a developer point of view, because you will never have name conflict, you will never have two files with the same name. But it's not very admin friendly, if you will, yeah, because, well, I have that here. And zoom in. Notice I used to be able to zoom in.
You see, I broke it.
You really broke it. Well, as you can see, these are file names that will be in a user's home directory. And there will be hundreds of them. So if you have a file name like that, and you're like, hey, this one is getting big, what application does it belong to? Well, good luck. Yeah? In the admin console, you can see the GUID in here, but of course you have a list of hundreds of applications and settings here as well. I was a trainer at REST, and during my training, a lot of students asked, is there an easy way to do this? And I always had to say no, at least not from the product itself. But then I started investigating. I saw some other information that got me thinking, and then I just looked it up, and it's very, in essence, it's very simple, because each, and I can see that there, each the object type is 48 for your user settings, so you can just get it out of the database. And as a former support engineer, I was used to just dig into the database if I couldn't find anything in the console. Yeah. So that was easy. So I started, and well, the first few things were simple. But then I started thinking about all the possible scenarios. Yeah, but what if a user setting, an application has multiple user settings? What if I have a placeholder application that multiple applications point to, and a placeholder application has multiple user settings? And well, I'm still struggling with that. But so Actually, I wish would have stuck to no, but I'm getting there. I'm working out all the different scenarios, and hopefully, well, I was hoping to have it ready before this event. That didn't happen because I had to finish my website. So hopefully, in the week or 2 weeks after this event, I will have my first blog on my blog about this. Yeah. So. And of course, automation helped me a lot. It involves SQL queries, it involves PowerShell scripts, and in both areas I have, well, just a little bit of expertise, or not even expertise, a little bit of little capabilities. So I can't do anything serious with it. But in automation, I can do that. Yeah, so I noticed that we're next to the Scientology church here, so thank whatever you want to thank, whoever you want to thank for automation. So the basic is simple. Get any LNG object type 48 out of TBL objects, and then you get your user settings. So, but if you want to do that, you have to be in the SQL Management Studio. And, well, of course you can write the results to a text file, but it's still, and the customer I worked at, they had some strange policy that they would not install SQL Management Studio anywhere but on the SQL server. So if I want to run queries, I have to do an RDP to the SQL server, and most or half of the time I take off the DBA who was working there because he's doing everything on the SQL server himself. So that was a little bit of a problem. So I just use the query, run SQL query in automation, and then I can do it from my automation management console, and I can do all the queries. But then still, the results are only available in that console. If I want to export it, I have to do it manually from the job results. Not very easy. So, and well, they came as just results. There is no evaluator function here. There's no output function here. So I needed to put it in a task that gave me the possibility to retrieve the results. So I put it in a PowerShell script. Initially, the PowerShell task only in automation only gives you the possibility to get the entire result of the script into a parameter and then use that parameter for the rest. So I was thinking, and then I have to do it in a table form, and then I didn't know the PowerShell commands for that. And then I read on the REST Slack channel, there's a new version coming, and one of the new features, and it's really cool, I don't know if you already know it, one of the new features is you can get multiple parameters out of the results. That's this part. These are all my parameters. Normally I would get the SQL query out, which is my variable here, but now I could get all the underlying properties of that object as separate parameters. And that was, that was right on time, because I was just struggling with how do I get it, and then they announced it. I upgraded immediately, and it's working like a charm.
Want to point out one small thing. If you use there is one little bug in the new one, so
there are
be
no
careful, because if you use the prepare for image in automation, which I do in my script, your agents won't get every agent you launch, of every machine you launch from your disk after that image, the agent won't come back online. So they're fixing it as we speak.
Very good. But that's not part of this.
No, but
yeah, of course. Don't just upgrade. Okay, guys, everybody, disconnect from the hotel Wi-Fi. The guys are in. Hello, everybody. Oh man. Oh, 5 minutes. Cool. Well, not so cool, but so now finally I have the possibility to get the results in a back in a format that I could somewhat control, but still it came back in the automation console. But if you have parameters in an automation console, you want to disclose that to people that don't have access to the automation console, well, in comes Identity Directory. Identity Directory is a web-based portal. You can configure a service, and now anybody, and it could be an administrator, it could be a help desk person, it could even be the end user if you want that. They request a service, they get a pop-up, okay, what file GUID are you having problems with? You have a file GUID that is 100 megabytes in size, and it has to be loaded when you start the application. It takes a lot of time. So where does this one belong to? Well, then you type in the GUID, the file name that you see, and the service will put up a runbook. The runbook will do the SQL query, and the result will be presented to you in your browser. Yeah, so you don't have to go to management consoles. You don't have to look up through lists. No, you get the information that you are looking for. Later, or visit my blog. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.